Almighty God, who in thy infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and councils for the welfare of society and the just government of man, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us, thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this assembly, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the good to those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge, all which we ask in thy name, and for the sake of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Single Island White Electoral District Member, Mr. Kenneth Hodge. Good morning, members. You may be seated.
Confirmation of minutes. Minutes of the 10th meeting of the 4th session of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly.
Are there any amendments to the minutes, please? Since there are no amendments, can someone move that the minutes be accepted as circulated?
Madam Speaker, I move that the minutes be accepted as circulated.
Madam Speaker, I second.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of proceedings of the 10th meeting of the 4th session of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly be confirmed as circulated. Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Minutes of proceedings of the 10th meeting of the 4th session of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly confirmed as circulated.
Oath of allegiance to new members? None. Announcements by the direction of the Speaker?
Just to announce that I have given permission for the Single Island Wide Electoral District member, Mr. Kenneth Hodge, to make an announcement during any orders of the day. And also just to congratulate one of our staff members here at the House of Assembly, Ms. Roniqua Hodge, on her appointment as Executive Secretary. Ms. Hodge, success in your new role. Thank you, members.
Questions? None. Government statements and recent developments? None. Papers? None. Reports from committees? None. Petitions? None. Private members, government notices? None. Private members' notices? None. Motions? None. Personal explanations? None. Other business, government business? A bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024, second reading.
The member for Island Harbor is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to you. Good morning to the members of the House. Good morning to the staff, those watching and listening. Madam Speaker, I rise to move that a bill shortly entitled A Bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024 be read a second time.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I'd like to read the objects and reasons for this bill, these amendments. The proposed amendments to the Special Economic Zone Act of 2020. And this is to facilitate the efficiency in the SEZ application process and introduce due diligence measures to improve oversight of the SEZ companies. If I say Z at times, Madam Speaker, it's because I spent a lot of years in America. So, Madam Speaker, the Special Economic Zone Act was passed in March of 2020, and since then, the Special Economic Zone Authority has been established and is in the process of approving various trade and employment certificate applications. In response to the evolving needs and dynamics of our special economic zones, there is a series of proposed amendments aimed at enhancing the operational framework. In the amendments, Madam Speaker, this introduces Section 28A to the existing legislation outlining the annual due diligence checks that the authority must conduct for every special economic zone company. If substantial changes, such as legal issues, financial irregularities, ethical breaches, or other factors adversely affecting the company's suitability are identified during these checks, the authority is empowered to A, conduct a thorough investigation into the identified changes, B, provide the SEZ company with an opportunity to explain the changes through written or oral submissions, C, consider the findings of the investigations and submissions made by the SEZ company. And if after this process, the authority determines that the identified changes render the SEZ company unfit to operate, it may revoke the SEZ trade certificate issued to the company in accordance with Section 29. The revocation may lead to the SEZ company's disqualification from operating a special economic zone business for a period determined by the authority, not exceeding 5 years. The amendment aims to enhance regulatory oversight by addressing significant changes that may affect the suitability of SEZ companies to operate. Madam Speaker, consultations were done with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economic Development, the Financial Services Commission, as well as the Special Economic Zone Authority as stakeholders, and these have reviewed and considered the proposed amendments, and there have been no objections, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the renewal of trade certificates will now occur on the anniversary of the initial issuance, as opposed to the current practice of annual renewals, that is the 1st of January each year. This change aims to be more in line with multi-year certificates, and when certificates have multi-year validity, anniversary-based renewals are a natural fit. This ensures that the certificate holders can maximize the full term of their certificate while also eliminating the need for prorated payments. There's also a change in how fees for trade and employment certificates are paid. Instead of annual payments, the fees will be paid in full based on the certificate duration. This would streamline the fee structure. And given that the Act will now allow for multiple years trade certificates, there's a need to conduct annual due diligence checks and further strengthen and clarify the power of the SEZ authority. Section 4.1 of the Act outlines the responsibilities of the authority. In relation to Section 4.1, subsection H, concerning financial services activities, this should be within the remit of the Financial Services Commission rather than the SEZ authority. So the Act will now empower the authority to refer applications to the FSC when it appears that the applicant may be involved in financial service activities. This change aligns with existing operational practices. So, Madam Speaker, I'm presenting this amendment, Special Economic Zones Act 2024, to the House for consideration and approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now invite debate on a bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024. Floor is open for contributions. The Single Island Wide Electoral District member, Mr. Joseph Vanterpool, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning to my fellow colleagues, to the members of the House Assembly staff, and all Anguillians listening, whether via radio or via Facebook. I'll be brief this morning, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of these amendments that are being made. I would also like to thank the Premier for reading out the objects and providing the objects and reasons. One thing that I would have noted on radio yesterday when I spoke about the Special Economic Zone Act is that when it first came for first reading, the objects and reasons weren't provided, so it was hard to know what the changes were and what impact it would have. But seeing them before me, Madam Speaker, I think that these are all, as the Premier said, there's nothing in here to object to. It streamlines the process for doing business. One of the things that I like in terms of increasing the consistency between the trade certificates and the employment certificates is that there's still the yearly requirements to maintain due diligence. So, Madam Speaker, all in all, I think that this is a step in the right direction. If we want to get businesses here to Anguilla, we need to make it easy for them to do business, and I see that these are some sensible changes. The one question that I would ask, Madam Speaker, through you to the Premier, not as a formal question, is I'm happy to see that work is being done or considerations are being made to the Special Economic Zone legislation, and that would indicate that there is some kind of greater vision or plans in terms of developing these thought-based industries. So I was just curious if the Premier could share with us if there are any plans in place to build upon this framework that exists. But as it relates to the amendments, Madam Speaker, I rise in support. Thank you.
Thank you, member. Any other contributions? Since there are no other contributions, I invite the mover to respond, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Single Island Wide Electoral District member, Mr. Vanterpool. I did hear your intervention yesterday on the radio, and certainly it's good to know that we are in that space where we have Anguilla is open to these thought-based industries in the Special Economic Zone. Right now, there are some companies registered, and they're mostly internet-based and related at this point in time. One of the goals is to change from that, where we have what's called a virtual city, where companies can be registered online. We want them to have economic substance, as is required to be here in Anguilla, and so that is the move right now, to have based, such as call centers, the thought-based leaders. We do know that that's where the world is headed, especially with the artificial intelligence, and so we have been open for business, and we continue to be, and certainly we do know that the Cord Group, which is the company that is right now managing the SEZ, they have been working with tech companies to get them here to Anguilla. Understanding that these are companies that will be set up in Anguilla, have employees in Anguilla, but they would not be doing work that is taking jobs away from Anguillians, Madam Speaker. So yes, thank you for that, and we are making every effort to get the word out that we have a special economic zone similar to the Cayman economic zone, which is has many businesses that are registered with it. We are moving in that direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable member. It has been moved and seconded that a bill shortly entitled A Bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024 be now read a second time. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. I call upon the clerk to read the bill a second time.
An act to amend the Special Economic Zone Act 2020.
Under Rule 45 of the House of Assembly Rules of Procedure 2021, the bill now stands referred to a committee of the whole Assembly to be considered clause by clause. Assembly in committee?
clauses 1 through 8.
I put the question that clauses 1 through 8 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
The title and the enacting clause.
I put the question that the title and the enacting clause do stand part of the bill. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The Assembly will now resume its sitting. You may report, sir.
Madam Speaker, I beg to report that the bill shortly entitled A Bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024 has passed through committee without amendment and is ready for its third reading.
A Bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024, third reading.
Madam Speaker, I move that a bill shortly entitled A Bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024 be read a third time and pass.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second.
It has been moved and seconded that a bill shortly entitled A Bill for Special Economic Zones Amendment Act 2024 be now read a third time and passed. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. I call upon the clerk to read the bill a third time.
An act to amend the Special Economic Zone Act 2020.
Bill read a third time and passed.
Private members' bills? None. Private bills? None. Other orders of the day?
Member for Single Island White Electoral District Member, Mr. Kenneth Hodge is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I'm grateful for this opportunity presented to me today in this honorable House to make this statement as it regards to training interventions for parents, principals and senior teachers, counselors, and police officers in the month of May 2024. Madam Speaker, for some time now, as the Minister responsible for Home Affairs, my involvement as a member of the Gun, Crime and Violence Committee, and especially as an at-large district representative, I am concerned and feel compelled and obligated to do something tangible in relation to what is happening in our country today, especially in regards to the vicious cycle of gun and gang violence, drugs, and other deviant behavior. Madam Speaker, I have thought long and hard about how I could make a significant contribution to the island to assist parents, teachers, counselors, and police officers in tackling the problems which confront them in their duties and other obligations on a daily basis. Madam Speaker, it is a matter of grave concern to all of us as it puts our lives and livelihoods under threat. Since December last year, I have been discussing this issue with my wife, Marilyn, who is herself a trained counselor for some 24 years, and who was recently in the United Kingdom undertaking a course of study dealing with how to work with dysfunctional families. Madam Speaker, it is important to note that it was this very problem that led to the production of the Positive Living programs on Radio Anguilla in 2000 as a community intervention, followed by the opening of the Wellness Center in 2007. Madam Speaker, this year therefore marks 24 years since the Positive Living program has been running. Madam Speaker, my wife would have introduced me to Dr. Marilyn Chu, one of our university professors when she attended Bristol University in 1999. Dr. Chu comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge as a teacher, trainer, author, psychotherapist, and researcher. Madam Speaker, we are therefore making the necessary arrangements for Dr. Chu to be in Anguilla in early May to conduct a series of workshops involving parents, principals and senior teachers, counselors at the primary and secondary levels, and police officers. The visit will also include a number of courtesy calls and radio interviews. All expenses associated with this visit are being met from personal funds. No cost to government, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, tackling gun crime calls for a multifaceted approach involving legal reforms, community engagement, and evidence-based policies. By working together, we can strive for safer societies and protect our fundamental rights. So this is my personal contribution in that endeavor. In the words of my alma mater, it gives me humble honor to serve in this manner. Madam Speaker, gun violence is a pressing issue that affects societies worldwide, and we here in Anguilla are no exception. Gun violence affects public health and safety. Injuries resulting from gun violence leads to substantial hospital costs, impacting healthcare systems and resources. Gun crimes increase the risk of death or life-changing injuries. Gun-related crimes affect education and community functioning. The mere presence of illegal firearms in our communities, Madam Speaker, heightens anxiety, creates fear, and hinders access to education and healthcare services. Our policymakers, law enforcement agencies, and our various communities must collaborate to address this growing concern, hence the importance of this intervention. I am grateful for the assistance of the Honorable Minister of Social Development, Ms. Deanne Kentish-Rogers, Permanent Secretary in the Minister of Social Development, Dr. Bonnie Richardson-Lake, Chief Education Officer, Mr. Brent Romney, Community Services Planner, Mrs. Hyacinth Bradley, and Commissioner of Police, Mr. Robert Clark, to finalize these training interventions. Madam Speaker, Dr. Chu has pioneered emotional literacy with students, staff, and children's services in the United Kingdom. She has worked with several hundred schools across the United Kingdom to bring about even better environments for learning. She also worked as a freelance consultant and trainer with a special interest in facilitated learning and the power of the group to support learning and personal development. In the last 15 years, Dr. Chu has moved into a role as a psychotherapist. She works with children, adolescents, adults, parents, and families in the UK, enabling people to deal with troubling and troubled behavior, overcome trauma, and to develop greater well-being and functioning in their lives. Madam Speaker, I am confident that this intervention will complement other initiatives and interventions being undertaken by our various government and non-government agencies and organizations. According to Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. We in Anguilla know this, but knowing is only part of the solution. In the run-up to the last general elections, I constantly reminded that if there's anything worth doing, if there's anything worth achieving, if there's anything worth protecting and sustaining, we must do it together. Madam Speaker, this is another step in that direction. Madam Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to have addressed this honorable House and indeed the wider audience it serves. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Single Island Wide Electoral District Member, Mrs. Quincy Gums, is recognized. Gums Marie, that is. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to apologize in advance of this announcement. It should have come under government notices. But it's not a formal speech. I just have paper in front of me. Just to inform the House, because in the 2024 budget presented by the Honorable Premier, we would have identified the establishment of a new unit within the Department of Natural Resources, the Renewable Energy Unit. And yesterday we formally launched that unit. So just to inform the House that that was advanced, and it is the central theme of the unit would be to focus on ensuring that the legislative arm of government is able to advance the work necessary to facilitate renewable energy integration in Anguilla. I'd like to thank the Deputy Governor for his support and the support of public administration in their work in setting up the unit, the Permanent Secretary Chanel Petty-Barrett, and the Chief Natural Resources Officer, voice is going, the Chief Natural Resources Officer, Ms. Melissa Mead, the Director of the unit, Mr. Dallin Connor, and Ms. Teleka Mussington, and Jason Daniel, who also work in the unit. So the acronym that guides the work of the Renewable Energy Unit would be AREAS, Anguilla Renewable Energy Service, Energy Advisory Service. By way of a second announcement, on Thursday, March 14th, at 2 o'clock, we will be meeting with poultry farmers at the agricultural grounds, and I'm inviting all persons and stakeholders interested in egg production to meet us there at that time. Madam Speaker, while I'm on my feet, I'd like to recognize the members of the Debating Society who would have done an excellent job. In my unbiased opinion, I would have imagined seeing them move further along in the process. But as a former president and vice president of the Debating Society, 2011 and 2012, I cannot be more proud of their work, particularly the improvement in rebuttals, which was always a weak point over the years. But just to see that level of improvement is something that we would have worked on during my time there as president, and it's really good to see the onward improvement. Members of the Debating Society really move on to be great members of our society in general. So I'm also urging parents to encourage their children to join the society. It's a morale-building, educational experience. I think we have at minimum 4 persons in the assembly who would have been former members of the Literary and Debating Society. It was my pleasure to contribute to their travels, and also my pleasure to support them. And finally, Madam Speaker, as we would have concluded Women's Week last week, I want to recognize all the women, those who are recognized, and also those who continue to support the development and acceleration of women throughout Anguilla and throughout the world, wherever they are, and the way that they touch and support women through different initiatives. In conclusion, I would like to identify Mrs. Vanessa Connor of the Liberty Credit Union, Cooperative Credit Union. I'm not sure if it was planned for their move to be done during Women's Week, but I thought it was fitting to see a woman in charge of a financial institution supporting financial literacy, financial independence, and providing Anguilla with financial alternatives. And so I'd like to recognize her for her work. And as I wish her then, I wish her openly that every stumbling block be a stepping stone in the future success of her business. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Single Island Wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Joseph Vanderpool, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to start off, Madam Speaker, by joining with my colleague, Minister Gums-Marie, in congratulating the Anguilla and Literary Debating Society team, which would have recently represented us in St. Kitts at the Leeward Islands debating competition. I, too, am a bit disappointed with the overall result, but that's not as a result of the performance of our debaters, who I'm sure made us, not only all of us here present, but everyone who was proud to be an Anguillian that day who was watching. You can tell that they put in the work, they put in the effort, and unfortunately the chips don't always fall the way we'd like, but we were able to capture the best overall speaker in the person of Ms. Maya Lake, which I think in and of itself speaks wonders, not only a testament of her job well done, but as to the quality that is coming out of Anguilla in terms of representation. So again, job well done to all of the members of the debate team, the supporting staff, the persons who would have traveled with them, the coaches, the trainers, and everyone who would have contributed to them being able to travel and represent our nation so ably. Madam Speaker, I was tempted to bring back out the pink jacket this week, but you know, certain people who support schools like Aurelia Kellett might misconstrue it. And unfortunately, my red jacket hasn't arrived for me to put the dragon on it, you know? So I do want to make special mention and congratulations to Pink House and all of the Pink House Panthers for the job well done and for finally sticking out to the end and bringing the championship home to where it needs to be. I believe that this is going to be the first of a very long streak, so the other houses could take a little break. But while saying that, I do want to commend all athletes on all of the other houses for a commendable job. Particularly, I want to give a shout out to Orange House, who tested my anxiety, had me a bit nervous leading up into those last few races. Job well done. I also want to say kudos to all of the athletes who would have represented both their primary schools and the high schools at the Ashley Brooks Road Race, which would have taken place on Sunday gone. Madam Speaker, the one thing that I would want to say is, again, I know I reiterate this a lot. The one thing that I found that was lacking on Sports Day was the participation and the presence of the community. We know that we're leading into primary school Sports Day. Everyone is getting hyped up, and it's good. It's good that we can do this. It's good that we can come out for our students. But these are the same students who we are coming out for when they are in grade 6, who when they go to first farm and they go to second farm, they're expecting the same crowds, the same level of community support. Where are we to show up for them? So I would want to admonish the entire community. Come out and let's show up for our students. They are working hard, they are doing wonders, and they can be the next ones on the global stage. But we don't want to just support them when they reach on the global stage. We need to be there for them now. With that, I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Single Island Wide Electoral District member. I recognize the member for Valley South. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't want to repeat too much of what my colleagues have already said, but I do want to put on record my congratulations to our debaters who did an exceptional job in St. Kitts and Nevis. You know, they say that when you go to St. Kitts and Nevis, nobody wins but St. Kitts and Nevis. But outside of that, I'm very proud of the debaters, and I'm looking forward to see them move from strength to strength. They use this opportunity as a stepping stone, as the minister said, to capture the title the next year, that this fuels their fire for the next turnaround. And of course, I was very happy to support them in their travels to St. Kitts. But that brings me on to another area in the education system where we currently have a class of students for literatures and English who, as part of their curriculum, are studying a particular play. And what we would have done is organize to have those students go to the UK. They're currently in the United Kingdom watching the play live in the West End in London, which we were very happy. I was very happy to also support that initiative for our students to have more immersive educational experiences where we take material that's in the pen and paper that we see in the classroom, but we also bring it to life within the industries that make this a reality. So I'm very happy to have supported those students and look forward to hear more about their experiences in London as we continue to ensure that education starts to live outside of the classroom and not just inside. Of course, I must give congratulations to Orange House on their Ashley Brooks championships. I'm very happy that they beat Pink House. Unfortunately, Maroon House did not compete, but you know, we're taking a break, a very active break. But it was really good to see. It's very good to see all the athletes out at Ashley Brooks. Of course, we all have our individual primary schools that we would have attended to and supported. And of course, I'm expecting to see the same school spirit on the 27th of March for Primary School Sports Day. I'm not gonna say who I am or who I support right now. I'm gonna just leave you on the edge. But I do wish the schools all the best. The athletes have been training actually for quite some time for not only the Ashley Brooks Relay, but also for Sports Day. So I'm anticipating that it will be quite a tightly contested sports day this year, and I don't believe that it's fair to say there are any clear winners. They're only, persons who would have won historically. Like my people. Anyways, that being said, Madam Speaker, I do want to reiterate the words of my colleague on the other side. It's important for us as community members to do our part to support these athletes, not just when they're in primary school, but also when they're in high school. So I do want to thank.
Time is up.
Congratulations, Pink House, for your victory. It was a very hard one. I'll give you guys that. And no, I think that you guys really did deserve to win. You showed out. You put your best foot forward, and I think it was the athletes and those who participated, the teachers who organized, made that a reality. So very, very strong congratulations over to you guys. And of course, as we wrap up Women's Week, as the minister said, I just want to take this moment to thank all the women in this house, the women who are members of this honorable house, the women who are members of the staff of the House of Assembly, the women in this country who have made opportunities possible for us, the women who are unsung heroes, who may not make the Women's Week honorary list on a year-to-year basis, but they continue to work for the wider benefit of women, who offer safe houses and safe shelters to women who've been victims of domestic violence, to the women who are working in alternative industries. I just went down by the Lansingbourg Cultural Center, and there's a woman who's there laying up the blocks. And we don't often shine a spotlight on those women in alternative industries, but I want to tip my hats off to them to fearlessly blazing a trail in alternative industries and doing as they need to do. So happy Women's Week, the end of Women's Week, to all the women who make Anguilla what it is today. And we look forward to continuing to advance the causes and create a more equitable society for both men and women in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Member for Valley North is recognized. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I too wish to join the other members of the House in congratulating Anguilla's debate team on an amazing performance. I also want to especially congratulate my league on winning the Best Overall Speaker Award. I also thought that the video that they did, I don't know if person saw it, but the video that the debaters did, just giving a recap, a shady recap of their time there was quite nice, and I must admit I definitely enjoyed it. I also want to shout out Pink House for winning Sports Day. Very proud of all of the athletes and the teachers who continue to go out of their way, but also just to congratulate all the teams on an amazing performance and just getting out there and pushing as hard as they could have. I'd also like to congratulate the Aurelia Kelly Primary School on winning the basketball championship a couple of weeks ago. They also did an amazing job, and also the other participants in the basketball championship that also did a really, really good job. And thank you to the parents that came out to support, community members that came out to support as well. It really was great to be able to see, experience, and watch over that week. I also want to congratulate the Women's Week honorees on their recognition. It's always wonderful to be able to celebrate women who are doing amazing things in our communities. And finally, I'd also like to congratulate the House of Assembly on the launching of their educational program. On a personal level, this is something that I've always advocated for individually, and I've tried as best as I could to do some of my own sessions, just educating young Anguillians about democracy generally, but just about the political system that we operate in. So congratulations to the House of Assembly for doing that, and I look forward to supporting the House of Assembly team in any way that I can. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Any other orders of the day? Yes, Member for West End.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm from the days of Red House, A House. So on the day, I was supporting all the houses. Again, I must give credit to our debating team. Congratulations to them. My school, the Alvin Allison Richardson Primary School, is one of the smallest. We don't expect to win on Sports Day, but we'll do the best that we can. But I'm sure the Prime would agree with me, Madam Speaker, when it comes to boat racing, and he's smiling. Right, others can gloat about their success in their houses. We can gloat about the success of the upsetter, the stay up, the light and peace, and the wizard. So I'm very proud of them, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank you for that.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any other orders of the day? The Honorable Member for Road South.
Thank you very
Is
much, Madam
recognized.
Speaker. I just rise briefly to reiterate my congratulations to the Anguilla Debating Club. Because of lots of foreseen circumstances, I wasn't part of that club when I was in high school. But we see our debaters really representing us wherever they go. And usually the home court wins, whether they deserve it or not. I'm not saying that who won didn't deserve it, but that has been a historical feature in the debating competition, the Leeward Islands debating competition. The only time it's really fair when it comes to these regional events is the Leeward Islands Calypso show. But this year, I have a strange and strong belief, given the fact that our chairman, Mr. Evan Connor, has been doing such a tremendous and excellent job, that the motivation to bring out the best in the Calypso competition will be there. And whoever wins the Calypso competition and the brand new Shanghai vehicle from Motor World will also go on to win the Leeward Islands competition. So I congratulate Springer in advance. But Madam Speaker, but Madam Speaker, also, as you know, I would like to also congratulate Ms. Vanessa Connor and her team over there at Liberty, Madam Speaker, giving the people of Anguilla freedom. And to see how Liberty has grown from strength to strength, from starting at the bottom and now holding assets of over $40 million is a tremendous feat. And not only, as I said, ran by a lady who grew up in Road South, Madam Speaker, but also what she has been doing with young people, in particular young women, in terms of mentoring and training. And when you go to Liberty now, you'll see a number of young people who are providing the best customer service that you can find anywhere. And this is something that all of our businesses can learn from, how great customer service can really propel your business and grow your business, Madam Speaker. And I also want to join the Honorable Deanne Kentish Rogers in terms of looking at women in construction. I've said some time ago, for every 50 persons who are retiring from the construction sector, only 11 is joining the construction sector. And it may be less in Anguilla. But when we go to these projects and we go to the Clayton J. Lloyd Custom Cargo Building that's being constructed right now, and we see women there working construction, steel benders and steel fabricators. When we go to the new Lance and Bowl Cultural Center, Madam Speaker, that many say that cannot be done, and it's being done today, we see women who are laying blocks, not just their mixing mortar, but laying blocks. So it says that women can do all things that they put their minds to, and we are very happy and proud to see the amount of work that is being done, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I also want to congratulate the Honorable Premier for really driving and pushing to ensure that the Vivian Van Der Poel Primary School is redeveloped, Madam Speaker, because we know that persons in the past have done all they could to close that school down, Madam Speaker. And the investment that is being done in that school today is important and will continue to produce scholars and intellectuals such as the Honorable Premier, Madam Speaker. So congratulations, Premier, on that. And Madam Speaker, also, I would also like to say from the Ministry of Infrastructure, in a few days we'll be signing the contract for a contractor to develop our new airport terminal, Madam Speaker, which will be a beautiful terminal. And we are also right now at this point in time looking at the land needs for the extension of the Clayton J. Lloyd runway, Madam Speaker. And again, I want to thank the Honorable Premier for his tenacity in to ensure that all the support and everything is done to ensure that these things are done, Madam Speaker, because a lot of people need to know that this is a team effort on everything that we have done, Madam Speaker. Whether it be the bypass, whether it be the resurfacing of the airport, whether it be the Valley Main Road, whether it be the hair policy, whether it be the green space, whether it be the Vivian Vanderpool Primary School, the Clayton J. Lloyd International, Custom Cargo Building, the Terminal Building, the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center, Madam Speaker. All of this is a team effort, and it takes a collective effort of this team and their ministries. And of course, I would be remiss of me not to also thank the Land Development Control Committee and Governor Crouch and her office for everything that they have done to facilitate the development of the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center. So, Madam Speaker, thank you for affording me the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I'm happy you remember that women can do all things they put their minds to do. And I'm so surprised that I had no point of order when you made the statement about congratulating that person for the Calypso show. Because women can do all things they put their mind to do. Okay, you never know, it's 50. Any other orders of the day? Premier? No? Okay.
Adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I rise to beg that this honorable House be adjourned sine die.
Madam Speaker, I second.
It has been moved and seconded that this honorable House now stands adjourned sine die. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. This honorable House now stands adjourned sine die. Thank you, members. Have a good day.